This is Lila Rose. It says, men don't need sex. Our culture is so hypersexualized that the idea of a celibate priest leaves people in disbelief, as if it's impossible. That's heartbreaking. Have we really forgotten that self-control and virtue are within reach? Look at Jesus Christ, the most perfect man to ever walk the earth, was celibate and sinless before he was crucified for our sins. Shouldn't he be the supreme model for manhood, self-mastery, discipline, total self-gift, all-out love? Priests choose celibacy so their hearts can belong entirely to God, as St. Paul wrote to the Corinthians. St. Paul and the Corinthians. Christ is the model, love is the reason, holiness is the goal. Now, I reposted this and I just simply said, luckily, we have these women to tell us men what we do and don't need. And I had people coming at me for this, spurging out at me for that take. Now, I wanted to get your take on this, Andrew.
Okay, hang on. Let's go back to your take, right, as we're dissecting this. So your take, read it one more time. Let me make sure I got it right.
I just said, lucky that we have these women to tell us what us men do and don't need.
Yeah. So before I get to your take, play a little bit of the clip.
Can we all talk about Father Mike Schmitz? I showed him to a girlfriend who's not Catholic, and she's like, when's Mass?
What about the man needing sex? That's just a cultural narrative that basically says men are like animals and they have to be able to do this sexual thing. Otherwise, they're going to go crazy. And the reality is there's whole vocations that are celibate. And these are virile men, men's men.
Let's pause it there. So something to point out here. It is true that men don't need sex. Sex is not something which is necessary. Oh, look. She did. She reloaded. Look at that. Even in a new mug, everything. Okay, but anyway, we also don't need food every day. Don't need water every day, right? We don't need to watch or do any of our kind of like comfort things every day. There's all sorts of things we can point to as needs, or things which would be perceived as needs that we could say we don't need, right? You don't actually need to eat but once a week, Jake. Right?
Yep.
That's all that's necessary. But the thing is I understand her point. Her perspective is to say that there are feminists who do pretend that men are completely enslaved to their sexual urges. And this is how we end up with the men are lower life form, beastly animals who are enslaved to lust. I get that part. But I think the phrasing here was pretty bad. The idea here is that in some way she's playing into the narrative with the word need. You know what I mean? With this idea of like, no, they don't need sex. It's like, well, I guess that's true, but I think it misses the point, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I noticed was at the very start of the clip, this other woman who's also a married woman says, I was showing Pastor Mike to my girlfriend. Why were you showing Pastor Mike to your girlfriend?
Well, priest, actually, right?
Priest
Mike.
Priest. Yeah, whatever his name is.
Is that like
Can we all talk about Father Mike Schmitz?
Yeah, Schmitz. Yeah.
So I showed him to a girlfriend who's not Catholic, and she's like, when's Mass?
If my wife was there saying, I showed Mike Schmitz to my... I would not be happy about that. Anyways, that's not the main point here. But here's what I think. When it comes to...
So sexualizes a priest, and the other one talks about how men don't need sex.
Yeah. They like literally thirsting over the priest at the start, trying to not thirst, but her expression is so like thirsty. Look at this.
Can we all talk about Father Mike Schmitz? I showed him to a girlfriend.
Is she not thirsting over Father Mike Schmidt here?
A bit.
Looks like it to me.
A little bit.
Anyway, I like a lot of women. When they get into marriage, we know that there's a problem with cold beds, right? With women not having sex with their husbands. This just seems like a cope excuse. Well, you know, you're such a strong man, you're such a virtuous man, and you've got so much self-control that you don't need sex. You don't need to have sex. So whenever I don't want to have sex, and you say, "Honey, that's fine. I'm a strong man. I don't need sex." You know, this is what I interpret it to be, how men get gaslit in this situation, to be told how strong and virtuous
I think it's
they
fair.
are.
I would just point out the opposite. I'd be like, you're a strong woman. Go sleep outside.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Go sleep outside. Go sleep in the car. Who cares about those backaches? You're tough. You're tough as nails. You don't need a bed. You don't need your stupid feather bed with expensive. You ever seen the mattresses these women get? It's $10,000 mattresses. The most expensive piece of furniture in their house is their mattress. They have it all installed, right? And then they're never happy with it. They order 3 more fucking mattresses after that, and then the mattress store never takes anything back. That's what they do, right? I would just say, no, you gotta go sleep on the couch. You You gotta go be strong and sleep on the couch.
Yeah. I mean, do you see what I mean by this, by the slippery slope, and how this sort of messaging within like a Christian marriage could be interpreted, and like could have a man who's gaslit into thinking, or into being told, that if he ever asks for sex in any way that's not just completely submissive to the woman's desire, then it means that he doesn't have self control and he
Well,
has
it's
no
all low
discipline.
tier rage bait, right?
Yeah.
Like ultimately, it's all low tier rage bait. When you go watch the actual episode, it's much more innocent than all of this. But they want the whole goal here is to create the rage, and then you go check out the episode, and then they have deniability. Ah, you fell for a clip. Ha 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 ha. When nobody was actually clipping this out of context, they clipped it themselves out of context in order to drive the rage bait. You know what I mean? That's the thing about this that's most dishonest and pisses me off. It's like I get clipped out of context constantly, but I don't clip myself out of context in order to create rage.
What exactly is out of context, though?
Well, what Lila Rose is trying to get at, she's trying to kind of walk people through the idea of how men are demonized in society as being slaves to their own sexual desire. And that's why calling them rapists and, things like this should be socially acceptable from the feminist paradigm because they can't control it, right? They can't control their urges. They can't control themselves. That's what she's actually trying to get after. But they clipped it this way in particular, create an environment of rage baiting. That's the point.
Mm. Yeah, right. Okay.
And then when you watch the actual episode, you realize something really important, which is why they did this as rage bait. And I'll explain why.
Okay.
Because
Keep
it's
going.
really fucking boring. These
Yeah.
women talking, both of them are super boring. They're not saying anything new whatsoever. They have no good takes on any of this. It's just the same old recycled garbage, and they're really boring. So in order to spice it up, they create a little bit of controversy, right?
All right. Let's watch the rest of this then.
Not Catholic, and she's like, when's mass?
What about the man needing sex? That's just a cultural narrative that basically says men are like animals and they have to be able to do this sexual thing. Otherwise, they're going to go crazy. And the reality is there's whole vocations that are celibate. And these are virile men, men's men. Some of the most masculine men I know are priests. We need food. We need air to breathe. We don't need sex.
It's a gift
of coming together, and it's designed to bring life into the world.
I think the sexiest thing about a guy is like their self-control. And my husband has amazing self-control. So after baby number 4, when we started practicing NFP, it was like we couldn't do it sometimes when we wanted to. And that kind of made things a little steamier, like not gonna lie. It's hard on him too, don't get me wrong. People will say, well, oh, do you just do other things for your husband?
So this is the funny part here for me, where the cliffhanger at the end is like, watch the full episode to find out if she sucks her husband's dick. You know?
See, this whole if they're really going for the natural parenting thing, the natural planned parenting thing, aren't you supposed to just trust in God, right? You just keep going. You keep going, and you be fruitful and multiply. He'll give you exactly as many children as you need to have, right?
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I don't know,
And
man.
let's not kid ourselves either, right?
Yeah.
Like Catholics, they hump like rabbits. Okay, they breed like rabbits, which is good.
Yeah,
It's a good thing.
It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good thing that they're doing that, but it's mostly because they don't follow any of this stupid ass advice. They just keep having sex and pumping out children. That's what they do, and that's really good for the world. So God bless all the Catholics who do that, because there's not that many human groups who do anymore.
Yeah, I've noticed that about the Catholics, that they have big families. And we absolutely do need that. But I don't know, man. I don't really know these women and what their exact stance is too much. I know a little bit about Lila Rose. The other one, I don't know who she is. And I'm sure that they're doing some great things. I think Lila Rose's work with the pro-life advocacy and everything is absolutely phenomenal. I think she does fantastic work in that regard. However, I have noticed that sometimes, like, Christian men can get a little bit pacified in a sense, where they'll be a little bit too sort of like nice guy with their wives. And I can see, I don't know exactly how this would work out, but I can see how this sort of messaging of like, you have to be a disciplined man of self-control and you don't need sex. I can just see how that would be used against a guy to actually make him go against his urges and not have maybe to be shamed or gaslit into believing that him needing sex or wanting
I
sex
don't think
regularly is
that
a
that
bad
would be
thing.
Lila Rose's position, honestly. I think that she would say that as a dutiful wife, you need to be having frequent amounts of sex with your husband, and as a dutiful husband, he needs to be doing the same. I think that she would actually concede that that's true. It's possible that this woman is just kind of like a ditzy, like that. I
Mm.
just wouldn't put that past her. She could just be kind of silly, right? But ultimately, what I see out of Catholics is that they usually, yeah, they don't really deprive each other much. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, look, I mean, maybe they just need to have a word to their clipper because starting the clip, thirsting over Pastor or Priest Mike or Father Mike, into then saying how men don't need sex, and then cliffhanger, do I suck my husband's dick? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's
gonna be
okay. Yeah, that was a
yeah,
little much. Yeah.
yeah,
Do we just do other things? Do I jerk him off in the sink? Like,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that's crass, right? That's crass language.
Clip that.
Implying it's okay, but actually saying it out loud, that's not okay, right?
yeah, yeah.